So 14 years later, it is still an emotional day. Solemn ceremonies marking the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001. But life goes on, and for many Americans, today was a normal day like any other. Bernard Whitman is a former Bill Clinton pollster, CEO of Whitman Insight Strategies. Mike Gallagher, syndicated radio host and Fox News contributor. Is it a true statement, Mike, to say that people who did not live in New York City at that time treat 9/11 differently as the years go by?
I think it's accurate to say that about some New Yorkers. I mean, Americans have short attention spans and we have a short memory. I'll probably get in trouble for this, but I wish our country, which honors President's Day, would have a 9/11 day. I really.
Why would you get in trouble for that?
Well, I don't want to demean President's Day, but I can't believe that we salute and honor, frankly, dead presidents, but we don't honor those who died on 9/11. We were all so deeply impacted by this, and we kind of forget. It's been 14 years, and we have, like I say, short memories.
Well, it's interesting, Bernard, because I just did an interview with the chair of the Homeland Security Committee, Mike McCall, who believes that we're actually in more danger today from terrorism than back on that day 14 years ago.
Yeah, I think there's no question the threat has changed. The threat has diffused, it's devolved, and become more sophisticated. So actually, it's harder to catch the terrorists, it's harder to fight the terrorists, but by the same token, because of that, the likelihood that any one attack is going to be anywhere near as lethal as the 9/11 attacks is actually much lower. And I think that ultimately...
How can you say that? How can you say that? And by the way, we couldn't find Osama bin Laden forever and ever, so I'm not so sure that...
And look, I'm by no means an expert in terrorism, but here's why I say that. Most of the attacks that we've seen in the last decade or so in the West have been inspired, not necessarily orchestrated. And so there are a lot of lone wolf people.
Yeah, you could argue that's more dangerous.
But what we have seen is the attacks are much easier, they're much smaller in nature, and they tend to be carried out over a much shorter amount of time.
As a fellow non-terrorist expert, I would have to observe that the threat of Iran getting its hands on a nuke, the threat of chemical, biological warfare is way different than 19 men with box cutters on airplanes. And I just would strongly disagree that it's sort of a less threat today than it was.
Well, it's no doubt going to be forefront, maybe in the next debate, as we approach the 2016 presidential election, and Donald Trump sparking strong reaction, both for and against him now, in a new poll. It's showing that 25% of Republicans likely to vote in the first in the nation Iowa caucuses say they would definitely not support him for the GOP nomination. Bush comes in second at 23% for people who would not support him. But he's still at the top of who would you vote for? That Trump is 27%. Carson second with 21%. Meantime, Governor Scott Walker has fallen from the top spot to number 10. Mike.
As I tweeted last night, it's let's admit it, it's wildly entertaining to watch people lose their minds about Donald Trump. I watched a TV interviewer, not on this network, accuse Trump of not being presidential-like and that you insult people. And Trump turned around and said, "Yeah, that's why your ratings are so bad. You're not doing so well yourself." And the guy was like, "Oh my gosh, no, don't say that. You're insulting me. That's mean. That's mean." I thought, you can't do that to Donald Trump.
Yeah, but how do you bring this symbiosis together, Bernard, of people? You probably don't want it to happen, but of people who love Trump and people who hate Trump, and how can that possibly be the same person?
He has suddenly become the most polarizing figure in American politics. You know, people say Hillary Clinton is polarizing. She ain't got nothing on Donald Trump. And what I think is fascinating about this new poll is that you have nearly half the likely Iowa caucus goers supporting either Donald Trump or Ben Carson. Why? Because virtually every Iowa GOP caucus goer says that they want someone outside of politics to be able to run. And I think, generally speaking, that's not a bad thing. But when you take someone outside of politics with no specifics, high on offensive rhetoric, and someone whose business experience has led to 4 bankruptcies, I think after a while, whether in the Republican primary or the general election, the voters are going to sour on Donald Trump.
Except the latest poll also shows Trump, I believe, beating Hillary Clinton.
Head-to-head. Republican voters are tired of feeling that the Republican Party has let them down, and Donald Trump, for many, is the answer.
Okay, guys, thank you so much.